had to work just to survive. And in fact, that's why you had to have lots of kids, because you had to have somebody work the fields so you could produce produce so you'd have food to eat. But today with technology, you know, just a few mega farms can raise enough food for everybody. The technology's there. We could all be living like kings if we demanded it and if we wanted it and if we could convince these would-be rulers of the world that we all deserve to have a fair shake at life.
Absolutely.
I have a nice little anecdote that you might be able to use in some of your lectures. In the Marquesas Islands in the South Pacific, it's a French colony which no one's ever heard of. In their language, they have no word for work. And it's a really wonderful concept, because of course we think the way we talk, it's not the other way around. And so they don't work, they catch a fish, they build a house, and they light a fire, and they cook a meal, and they dance, and they do this, and they just live. And this whole work-play dialectic has actually been so deeply ingrained into us in this Western society that we're victims of this idea, that we're prisoners because we've got to work all the time, and then we've got to play, and then they've got us by the throat because we're all trying to get out of this loop.
And if you have a son or daughter and all they want to do is play the guitar and write music, then they must be some kind of bum because they're not working. No, there was a great story. There was a great story about the retired American businessman who goes down to Mexico and he rents a little fishing boat and he goes out fishing and he gets to talking with Manuel, the guy that owns the boat, and he says, Manuel, you know, he says, what's your life like? What do you do? He says, oh, I get up in the morning, and he says, I come out and I do some fishing, and then I go home and take a siesta in the afternoon with my wife, and at night I go into town and sit with my friends and eat and drink and play the guitar and we sing, you know. He says, well, Manuel, he said, don't you understand, if you don't take a siesta, if you'd fish more during the day, you can make more money, and with that more money you can buy another boat. And with two boats, then, you know, you get more fish, and pretty soon you buy more boats, and the next thing you know, you have a fleet of boats, and then what you do is you come to the United States, and then you can incorporate, and then you can sell stock, and then you can have a whole fleet of boats, and you can make, you know, and pretty soon you can become a millionaire. And he says, how long would that take? He said, 20, 30 years, you know. He said, and then what I do? He said, well, then you can retire and come to Mexico and fish in the morning and take a siesta in the afternoon and visit your friends at night. And it's like, oh, wait a minute. He's already doing that.
Yeah,
so, you know, it's all in the mind. It's all in the consciousness and how we perceive things, and whether or not you think you have to be in the rat race, and whether or not you think you have to have more toys than everybody else so you can prove that you're a success. The most successful people I know are not necessarily the richest people I know.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, that's a very good point. Also, the idea is behind free energy, if you want to call it that, that the energy sources could make that possible for everyone.
Well, and we've had this for a long time. Nikola Tesla was trying to tell us how we could tap the basic energy of the earth, and everyone could just have their own energy. And of course, he got shut down by Edison and by the people who wanted to put in the electrical systems and make sure that you buy energy. And today, see, they've got a lock on it because, you know, you could be Bill Gates, you could be the richest guy in the whole world, but he still pays an electric bill each month. And it all comes back to perception and consciousness. Years ago, I got really big on solar energy, you know, and I said, well, you know, gee, either the sun shines or it doesn't. If it doesn't, we're all out of luck. And if it's shining, then why don't we capture the sun's radiant energy and use that for energy? So I was talking with an energy expert, and he very patiently and condescendingly explained to me that, well, you don't understand. He said it would take solar panels covering an area the size of the state of Arizona to provide enough power to power the city of Los Angeles. And I thought, oh, okay, and I checked him out, and that's probably true. Where's the flaw in his thinking? Central generation. He can only think in terms of central generation, generating that juice and piping it to L.A. What if everybody in L.A. put a solar panel on their roof?
And sun is so plentiful there that, you know, they could gather enough energy, you know, in a matter of days, really.
Exactly. And why don't they do that? Because The electric
No
company,
one would make
the
money.
electric company hasn't figured out how to make a cloud come hang over your house if you don't pay your electric bill. Okay? So it's all about power and control. It's not about technology.
So, yeah, absolutely. And this is the paradigm that humans are operating under at the moment.
Right.
So where is the United States headed in your estimation? Because in some places right now we have Native American tribes that are trying to secede from the Union, in essence, create their own currency.
We got 21 states now that have sovereignty bills pending. They're trying to cut loose. It's going to get real interesting. Basically, they have to destroy the United States. Okay, and what they're trying to do is wreck the economy, panic the people, and get everybody to accept the North American Union. And to do this, and the way they'll do this is by saying the only way out of this economic mess is to combine the economies of Mexico, Canada, and the United States. And of course, we've all heard talk of the Amero, which I have conflicting information. And of course, you see pictures on the internet and they say, oh, here it is and it's here now. And yet that's apparently not the case. That's just some coins people have struck as kind of a gimmick or a trinket. But I also have heard from people that I feel like know what they're talking about, that the Amero money is already printed and awaiting distribution. This is very reminiscent of some years ago. There was internet rumors running around about this red money that was going to be pinkish in color and have red ink and dyes in it, like that. And the government denied that, and they said, no, that's not right, that's not true. And yet now it is. We do have the new money, and it is reddish and pinkish and all like that. So
but states are not going to fall for this. It doesn't sound like, and even
they are balking. They are balking and they're bucking in the traces, and that's good. And the thing is, this is the salvation. Okay, we are not going to change the federal structure of the United States. It's too entrenched. It's too bureaucratic. Too many people are feeding at the trough, and they're not just going to voluntarily get up and go away.
Right.
And obviously, even by voting, you're not going to get anything changed much. In 2004, they voted in a Democratic Congress trying to curb the excesses of the Bush administration, and what changed? Nothing. We're still in Iraq fighting. We're still in Afghanistan fighting.
Right, and we're bailing people out, or companies out, not people.
Exactly.
To much greater sums than they ever thought of.
The Bush administration, which was hailed as the epitome of good conservatism, is the one that nationalized the banking business. Socialism right down the line.
Isn't the bottom line that the two-party system was just a fallacy anyway?
It's pretty much always been a joke, but it's definitely a joke now. Particularly, I guess it's summed up in the election of 2006. You could vote for Democrat John Kerry, who was from an oil family and a member of the secretive Skull and Bones Society, or you could vote for his cousin, George W. Bush, from an oil family and a member of the Skull and Bones Society. There's no choice. There's no difference. And anybody who still pays attention to Democrat and Republican, they're just getting snookered.
Okay, but so to get back to this situation, so you've got these families that are running everything. You've got an agenda to take down the United States, but the United States is not going to go. I mean, people they're actually incredible citizens. They actually want to save the country.
Right.
They're patriots, if you will.
The problem is they're all divided. Okay. And like I travel around the country, and I find pockets of people everywhere who understand what's going on, who care about what's going on, who want to do something about it, but they all feel like that they're in the minority and that they're all alone because these people control the mass media. And this is why, by the way, that when's the last time you heard a national politician refer to the Republic? They don't even talk about the Republic anymore because we're not a Republic anymore. We're just the empire. And all they can talk about is democracy. Democracy. We have to protect democracy. We've got to spread democracy. Well, what's democracy? It's ruled by the majority. So in other words, the epitome of democracy in action is a lynch mob. Well, that's not what we were given. We were not given a democracy. We don't want a pure democracy. We want a democratic republic. And what's the difference? Because in a democratic republic, if you're charged with a capital crime, then you get to face your accusers, you get to have legal representation, you get to go into a